Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon if you're in Europe. This is Steve Westman. Thank you for joining me today. This is going to be fun. A live Q&A with Abbey Road's Miles Showell. Welcome. I don't do Sundays very often, but I'm excited to do this one. You probably don't want to hear about me or see me, so let's bring on our guest. Let's see if he's here. First of all, find him somewhere.
Boo!
There he is,
I'm here.
Miles Showell. You're here. Welcome to the show. The live Q&A, and you saw this at the opening. A live Q&A with Abbey Road's Miles Showell. We're here. We did
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Thank
here
you for
in the
thank.
studio. It's good morning to you, good afternoon from me, and I guess if you're watching in Asia or Australia, good evening. So,
Yeah,
hi
it's
everybody.
what is it 4 o'clock in the afternoon your time? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
4 p.m. here. The
And
clocks
9 o'clock.
changed last night, so it's
Oh
this
my,
time yesterday would have been 5 p.m. So,
so you lost some, you gained
oh,
an
gained
hour.
an hour.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
perfect. Yeah, I'm
Well, well,
refreshed, as
well,
refreshed as I'll ever be.
so thank you for doing this. I know you've been busy, and now you can tell the folks, what are we looking at behind you right now? Like, where are you?
Okay, I'm in the studio because I work. I do a shift system, and I work every other Sunday as part of my shift.
Yeah.
So I'm in the studio. This is Abbey Road. So you put the picture up at the front door. That's I'm in that building,
Right here.
and
You're right
yeah,
there to the left. There
that's
it
it.
is.
Yeah, there you
Hey.
go.
Yeah.
And behind me, that's the lathe. Uh,
What year is your lathe? I know I'd asked you that last show. Can you tell us
yeah.
about that?
Well, I don't know exactly. Early 80s.
Yeah.
One of the latest ones they made. It was probably made in about 83, 84. And it was originally used in South Africa, and it didn't get, and it was a DMM lathe when it was made,
Hmm.
so it used to cut into copper discs, not lacquers. And my educated guess is because it's very low hours, so the CD probably took off quite quickly in South Africa just because of the environment and the dust and everything. So it's probably just it worked well for them in the 80s. So the lathe got turned off and kind of didn't run for over 20 years before I got hold of it. And then I had it all restored, had it converted to cut to lacquer, which was quite a job. I tell you, the lathe technicians who worked on it said, "Oh, it would be about 9 months," and it was 18 months before it was ready. But anyway, there it is. So that's the machine I use to cut all of the half speed albums. Everything since Sergeant Pepper. That's the first thing that lathe cut.
Oh, wow.
Was the Sergeant Pepper 50th anniversary in 2017.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of news going on at your studio. I guess you probably heard about it.
Yeah, that was good timing for this stream, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah.
so
What a certain
so
band with a
I certain band. I mean, we know the Beatles. Used to be there at times. I know a lot are joining right now. I mean, it's the Red and Blue album. You cut that half speed for the studio, and I think we should probably tell the folks as well. You're contracted by Abbey Road. You're not an employee of the company, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm in one of the team, so I'm part of the mastering team, but I'm not staff here. I'm independent. I'm freelance, so I have a kind of joint venture profit sharing arrangement with Abbey Road. So it's my job to attract in work they wouldn't otherwise already have got. And the Beatles kind of fell into my lap after I came here. I didn't come here and start doing the Beatles. That just happened later on, just by chance. But my job is to bring in clients and people that would otherwise not have come here.
So
So
you are on the phone a lot, or you're texting a lot and trying to really
uh,
get some business that way too. Is that how that
a
works for
little
you?
bit of that, but I mean,
Yeah.
I've done this for a long time now. I started as a trainee back in 1984, so 39 years I've been
Miles,
doing it.
you're aging yourself. Don't do
I
that.
know. Well, the beautiful thing is, in the world of vinyl, I'm still considered quite young, so that's handy. But it's yeah, I'm an independent of the whole kind of Abbey Road machine. Now that doesn't mean I can do whatever I want. I have to fit in with where they work. Hello. The equipment that I use has to meet Abbey Road's minimum spec, but that's not a problem because my minimum spec is at least as good as theirs, so that's never an issue. But it also gives me certain freedoms in that I can acquire my own equipment if I want to. I can tune it to my specifications. So that lathe That's not Abbey Road's lathe, the one over my shoulder. That's mine. And I've had it very much customized and tuned, and lots of parts on it replaced to make it sound better, quieter, and more natural than a regular Neumann lathe.
We've got questions right away, and I wanted to wait till later, but I mean, because I'll lose the question, but there's my friend George Borden here. He wants Miles to explain the EQ comp process for half speed. That is, does he start at full speed, then cut frequency in half, elongate attack and release times to compensate envelope changes?
That's a good question.
It is.
Yeah, good one. Very, very easy to answer, because when I'm doing half speed, although some people go, oh my God, digital, but I do it via digital. So I will make everything sound the way it needs to sound in real time and capture it to higher resolution digital, which is done with no peak limiting. So it's just pure, as good as digital can go. So it's normally 192 kilohertz BCM. Sometimes it's 96. It depends what comes in, because sometimes I'll get a digital source, like the Beatles remixes, they're all 96 kilohertz. So I keep them 96 kilohertz. So I will do all of the EQ and compression, whatever's needed to make it sound good. I don't do anything for half speed. I'll do it just to make it sound nice. Those files then go off to whoever needs to hear them for approval. So be it Giles Martin, be it the artist, be it the producer, or whoever needs to hear it. Once everyone is happy with the sound, then I'll do the half speed. Now I'll have to do some extra processing for half speed, which that's usually just de-essing. The Achilles heel of half speed is the sibilant vocals. S's can just tear and take off. I can cut them fine. You just can't play them back, or very few cartridges can track it. It just distorts. So I have to go through the song line by line and take down any sharp S's just to make them sound so that they won't distort on playback, which is a kind of slow, laborious process, but it's better because it limits anything else getting damaged. If you listen to an album cut at real time, very often other instrumentation will get diminished by the limiter, because it can't tell the difference between a sharp, bright vocal and a guitar strum or a loud snare or something that's bright, tambourine shaking. All of those things can be limited when they don't need to be, because they wouldn't distort on the playback. But if you set the limiter up enough to catch the vocal, it'll often catch other things as kind of collateral damage. So by doing it the way I do it, in software before I cut it, it's better because nothing else is getting limited. I have to do it in advance with software because none of the tools I would use at real time to do the de-essing of the vocals work at half speed. They're all looking for 5, 6, 7K at real time, and it's not there because everything's 2.5, 3, 4K. So the limiter's looking in the wrong place at half speed. So I have to go through and pre-treat everything. So really, to answer the question, I don't do any kind of live on the fly EQ or compression changes for a cut. They're all done in advance. And then once everyone's signed off on the audio, then we run it at half speed.
So, I mean, getting back, we've got the Beatles, the red and the blue album. It sounds like you spent a lot of time. It's the de-essing is the big issue. How long? Tell the folks how long you would have spent, I guess, working on those albums. I mean, how long would it take for you before it gets cut to the lathe?
You mean these albums?
Well, let's see them. Hang on, I'm gonna put you full screen. Hold on. Let's show
Ta-da.
them. I've
And
seen
these aren't old ones. These are new ones. The 3 LP new versions are out in a couple of weeks' time, I think.
So the blue album there, does it have all the track listing on the back? I'm just curious here. How does that work? How does it look? Or is it in the gatefold?
No, it's in the gatefold. There you go. I can hold that up. Whee! I don't know how well you can see that.
Let me just take this off here. And so the new now and then song is the very last one.
It's on the blue album, and it's track 1, side 5, I think. Yeah, track 1, side 5.
There you go.
I zoom right in. Can you get that? I don't know.
Not really.
I'm sure the camera's really good enough, but it's there. Trust me.
How's the song sound? How's the song sound?
It's lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to keep this a secret for a long time. I first heard Now and Then in the spring of last year. That's how long they've been kind of playing around with it. And when I first heard it, because all of this comes from the sessions that were done for the anthology, and Now and Then was going to be the third single that came out. There was Free as a Bird, Real Love, and then it was going to be Now and Then. But it hit some problems in the recording and mix stage, and they just decided to park it, and it never got finished. And the story I was told was that Paul always liked the song, always thought there was something special about it. And he approached Giles Martin, who now looks after the Beatles productions, and he said, "Is there anything you can do with this? We couldn't quite get it right. What do you think?" And Giles had a listen and thought, "Yeah, it's a great song. We can strip it back a little bit, make it a bit barer, maybe put some strings on it, and then it's good." And that's what they did. But what they were working with at the time, a year ago or so, was the original 1990s extraction that was done from John's demo cassette, because they lift the voice off of the demo, then complete the song. That's how it was done. And the way they could do that in the 90s was pretty crude compared to how it can be done today. And John did not sound good. He sounded like he was singing from a cylinder, really from the 1920s or something. Very, very kind of scratchy and just thin. And I sort of said, "So is there any way we can find the cassette and do a better, conversion and a better extraction?" Because the way of the tools for doing that now are vastly improved in the last 25, 30 years. And anyway, Sean Ono Lennon is the guy who looks after all of that catalogue now. He's got all the library of all of John's demos. He found the cassette, so they did a new transfer from the original demo. Got sent out to Peter Jackson's people, who do all the demixing now for the Beatles stuff, and the vocal that came back was chalk and cheese compared to what was done in the 90s. And that was great, because suddenly John sounded clear as a bell, nearly almost studio grade, and when you consider it was from a very badly recorded late 1970s cassette, literally microphone on top of the cassette player on top of a piano, just, it didn't need to sound good. It was just to capture the feel of the song so that it didn't get forgotten. It was never going to be used, but ultimately we have used it because that's how they've made the track. And because John's voice on the original 1990s version sounded so sort of thin and scratchy, they couldn't make the music sound all big, because it would have swamped him and he wouldn't have been audible. So once you get a lovely sounding John vocal, suddenly everything else just comes to life. And it was early February this year when I heard the latest mix, the one that's coming out, and I just nearly fell off my chair, because it's just so much better. So I think the song's great. I mean, I'm a fan anyway. They could do anything, I'd like it. But I think it's a great song. It's quite reflective, quite melancholic. It's just a really nice way to bring down the curtain, because this is it. There's nothing else new going to come. Everything else that comes after this will be, whatever remixes they decide to do, or whatever stuff that comes out of the vaults. But there's nothing else that will be a new Beatles song, because there is nothing else to work on, because we don't have George or John now. So it's impossible to make anything else. Does that answer your question? Are you still